Hello there. My name is Dante. You're watching my channel Bliss Beings, where I talk about spiritual growth and channel multidimensional beings. Today, I want to talk about those different levels of multidimensional beings that are out there, as many times people can get them a little bit confused. So, when we start to talk about our guides or these higher dimensional beings, they fall into a couple different categories. Uh, at the highest being angels, and then there's extraterrestrials, which on some levels has a lot of similarities to angels. And then there are the earth-bound nature spirits, yet they exist within another dimension of the earth plane. And as well, we all have our own guides that connect with our soul lineage, both genetic and karmic. So there are many different beings out there, and we all have connections to beings in all of these realms. They're all present here, right now. And as we open ourselves up more to our own spirit, we can allow these beings to make connection with us. So, first, let's talk about the angels. Angels are entirely non physical. Depending on who you ask, they exist in dimensions 8 to 12, with some variance in that. And as pure non physical energy, they have no body, they have no form. They are pure unconditional love light. As once you get to that eighth dimension and a bit beyond, the experience of polarity that creates negative and positive falls away entirely. So, this is why angels do not experience any negativity whatsoever, and channeled messages from angels are always portraying this kind of all is well, perpetually sort of message and energy. Angels can be connected with in order to clear dense energies and in order to go beyond what we experience as polarity in our dimension into a state of pure oneness, pure light. There is the idea of also fallen angels, though we can easily call them just demons. This is angelic energy distorted into lower dimensions. So, around maybe the sixth dimension, these energies can become something distorted or heavy, hence the story of Lucifer and these other beings. Yet they are not angels in and of themselves. They are simply the manifestation of that energy expressing itself through a negative polarity in a lower dimension, where just as easily these angelic energies express themselves in other kind of spiritual forms in those lower dimensions as the positive polarity. Yet the angels themselves exist beyond that polarity. So in that sense, you could say the angels are not good. They are simply pure expressions of spirit. So this differs a little bit from the extraterrestrials. The extraterrestrials do express a positive and a negative polarity, though you can easily simply only connect with the positive polarity of these beings. It is good to know that the other polarity does exist, and it does exist within all of these different planes, including the planes of Sirius and Pleiades, where when we connect with it, normally we will get the pure positive state expression of these beings. There are other beings that inhabit those same solar systems that are expressions of the other polarity. So, extraterrestrials have, for the most part, a physical form, a physical expression in their world. And they project into our reality their astral body or their etheric body, and they don't even need to project that astral level of their being to connect with us. And once you start opening up to your spirit and to your gifts, you can allow more of the messages and energies from these beings to be received in your body. And I'll talk more about how to connect specifically with any of these different groups later. So the extraterrestrials in the positive direction are evolutions into greater and greater spirit. And the step up, the only extraterrestrials that are capable of contacting us telepathically are at this point quasi-physical. Um, so they exist kind of in this higher dimensional plane, a fifth dimensional plane, in which they have form, they have embodiment, but with their consciousness and their will, or their intention, they can morph that consciousness and morph their form much more easily. They have technologies that allow them to move through time space much quicker and even alter time space to some degree. So when we connect with them, they do have a physical embodiment somewhere, though again, they are capable of altering that, and they are capable of shifting from wherever they're at into a point in space-time. And this is why when we see ships, they can simply pop out of nowhere and then disappear just as easily. So there are some extraterrestrials, especially the Arcturians, who do not have physical embodiment at all. And so they are much more similar to angels. They are, in a way, that positive manifestation of the angelic energy into a lower dimension. So they have this kind of base, an etheric base, in Arcturus, yet they themselves do not have planets and technologies that are physicalized, unlike the Sirians, Pleiadians, Andromedans, etc. Though the Arcturians can create the appearance of a form, it is a projection. It is kind of like a way that they bend the electromagnetic spectrum of energy so that they can appear to us in our own consciousness. And the Arcturians are very powerful in helping us clear energies. So they're good guides to connect with if you need to do like a cellular level clearing, upgrades of your DNA, and just get a more, in a way, objective perspective, though there is no such thing as an objective perspective. The Arcturians, in a way, are a little bit more, you could say, technical than some of the other extraterrestrials. They may appear kind of serious, though the Sirians can tend to feel that way as well. So, nature spirits. These beings exist in a plane where they are never born and they never die. They just have always existed. And that plane is intimately interwoven with the natural world around us. So plants, trees, rocks, mountains, water. It has a higher dimensional component as well. And that is tied in with these nature spirits. So you can start to connect with them by being out in nature and having that intention and really getting in touch with your breath, with the sensory input around you, with the feeling that you get when you connect with a rock, with a tree, with something like that. And they are, again, always there. And they as well have this, they have a polarity to them. So there is a positive polarity and a negative polarity. There are negative nature spirits as well. And they can start to mess with you if you start to mess with nature. So whatever you put out comes back. So if you have ill will towards nature, if you have disrespect towards nature, these kinds of spirits can kind of mess around with you a little bit. Nature spirits in general have a bit of a trickster energy. They like to play. They don't take things too seriously. They are not as attached to things as we are, as they are immortal beings, and they kind of laugh at our attachments to the little crystals in the rocks and things of that nature. So they can move things around, or they can play with things in our reality, and it's a learning game. Even the positive nature spirits can be a little bit tricky, and that trickiness can help you wake up to the divine joke and kind of go beyond your limited attachment to human sorts of things. So the other spirits are, in general, our ancestors, and then karmic beings that our soul connects with. And some of those beings can be what people consider past or future lifetimes, though they are parallel lifetimes always, because everything is occurring right here and right now. So our ancestors do connect with us as well, and they have this unconditional love for us. They really want to support us in our growth, and they want to see the continuation of the consciousness of our genetic line, so our genes are alive, and all of these patterns that have been passed down, everything that happens to someone in our genetic line changes the genetic code, and those sorts of experience and those sorts of ideas then become embedded in our code. So when we start to connect with these projections of the soul of our ancestors, they can sometimes really want to assist us, and sometimes they do not actually push us beyond the limitations of those genetic codes. And this is why working with ancestors can be a bit tricky. It's very important for Indigenous people around the world because they're in a bit of a cultural survival mode. The modernization of the world is kind of pushing a lot of the old ways out, and so these people work with their ancestors as they always have, and that connection to the ancestors keeps alive that tradition so that those old ancient ways of wisdom stay alive. Yet the sort of double-edged sword of this is that this also prevents new growth and change. So if you work with your ancestors, it's really important to as well connect with these higher realms. They may be angels or extraterrestrials or nature spirits, whatever you connect with. Though these beings have a very different perspective, coming literally from the future. So they are more concerned with progress and evolution, and that helps balance out these connections. And so the karmic beings, the other soul connections that are coming from your own soul history can be they can be very positive spiritual teachers or yogis or shaman that you may have been in other lifetimes, though again, you are who you are today, and that's another aspect of your oversoul having a parallel experience. You can draw in information, energy from that, though when you start to think that, oh, that was me doing that back then, you start to build this spiritual ego that keeps you from seeing all that you are right here and now. So these beings, again, to learn more about how to draw energy from this, you can watch my video about shape-shifting that I just posted yesterday. And yeah, as you change, the beings also tend to change, and they can come forward into reality now to help us grow and evolve and show us more about our soul history and why sorts of vibrations, energies, ideas, proclivities that we have in this lifetime are there. They're often coming from these other lifetimes and spilling over into this reality. So as you can come to see all of these different beings, you can notice that they are quite a bit different. And that just reminds me as well of ghosts. So ghosts are the kind of leftover fragments of a soul that is kept in reality through the kind of pain it may have experienced, and the people here kind of keeping that alive, keeping that story alive. So it takes the living to create the ghosts in a way, because really the soul, once the body dies, is fully immersed in spirit. Though if the soul was fragmented, those fragments can leave a phantom in physical reality. So what you're seeing when you're seeing a ghost is not literally that person. It is a fragment that soul left behind. The soul leaves and becomes whole, though it creates the illusion for those here that it's not. And then we can work with the kind of collective field of consciousness to help that leftover phantom fragment restore in the dimension that we inhabit, though the soul itself is whole and complete. It's like cleaning up the garbage that they left behind for the collective consciousness field here. And demons as well. So demons can be created through human thought, or demons can be just that sort of the required negative embodiment in certain dimensions that is just part of how these lower dimensions work is that there's polarity, and for every good there is bad. Now, we humans exist within the third and fourth dimension where there is this polarity, and so we will always be subject to a bit of this pain and suffering, though we are waking up now to go beyond that. So when you are encountering any such negative energy, offering non-resistance, offering love, offering this non-dual energy that can recognize where there is bad, there is also good, allows any of those energies to clear. So some of these negative demons, or whatever you call them, are built into the fabric of reality, and some of them are created by human thought. And that is leading into what makes all of these different beings the same is that they are all consciousness, consciousness condensed into thought form. So before there was anything, there was simply this empty awareness. It was an infinite awareness that was source consciousness. Well, okay, not source consciousness just yet, source. It was source, complete awareness, complete oneness, yet undifferentiated from itself. And then the first creation of polarity was that awareness, that source, creating consciousness, creating a degree of self-awareness. So recognizing that, this is self, this is me, creates consciousness. And then consciousness, from its existence in much higher dimensions, slowly condenses, there's no time, so I don't know why I said that. It may seem like that if you look at it. So it condenses into form, and those forms go from light to vibration to geometry to the structure of physical reality itself. So even angels are thought forms. Extraterrestrials are thought forms. We are thought forms. And so when we repeat a thought again and again, that is very similar to what a negative entity may look like. And its structure and how we deal with it, it's almost the same. So some people who are possessed by demons are not actually possessed by real demons. They are possessed by their self-created demons, which are totally real, but it's slightly different from those demons that are just part of the fabric of reality before humans started playing with it. So, this idea of a Satan or a figure like that, people repeat this idea again and again, and then they tell that idea to others and they preach that idea. So many people then start feeding their consciousness energy into that idea, and it creates a much stronger field of reality. Every thought that's ever been thought still exists. So there's no defeating or destroying a demon that humans have created. There's only breaking your attachment to it by seeing the power that you have in creating that and attracting that by focusing upon it. So that's all there is. I made a video quite a while ago about dealing with negative entities, if you want to check that out, if that's something that really means something to you at this point. So how do you make a connection with any of these beings? It's with your intention. So just alone having the intention to meet angel, extraterrestrial, will allow their energy to come to you. If you are watching this video, this connection is already happening because your consciousness is filtering through all of these ideas. Even if you're totally skeptical, there is some transference of energy between these dimensions just by watching this video and keeping this in your consciousness. So by focusing upon this and bringing yourself inwards to what you're feeling in your subtle body, what are you feeling emotionally, what are you perceiving psychically, are you seeing colors, are you seeing images or anything of that nature, are you hearing sounds? So these beings communicate through vibration, and then our consciousness translates that vibration. When it comes to beings like angels, they, again, don't have any form at all, though our collective consciousness crystallizes the energy from non-physical dimensions into something that we can understand. So obviously we'll see a lot of lights with angels, and we can then kind of anamorphize, I can't pronounce that word right now, them into a human form and see it with big wings and stuff of this nature. And this is, again, our own consciousness crystallizing that energy that's coming from a higher dimension. And some say that because we've associated birds with this heavenly nature, it's up there, then we projected the wings onto the angels. But again, because that's been something that's been part of human consciousness for so long, we have then developed in our own energetic structure wings that allows us to embody the angelic-like energy. So at the back of our heart chakra, we all have wings that grow and grow as we develop our own connection with the angels. Pretty wild. So a very powerful way to connect with angels is simply to visualize light energy from your heart, because the heart is where a connection with any human or any non-physical energy begins. It begins here, as this is the center of our spirit and where love and energy flows between us and another. This heart center of ours is a very powerful place, and as we tune in to feel more of what we're feeling inside of ourselves, our heart allows us as well to feel the transference of energy, the emotion, the quality of energy that comes when we connect with these beings is felt in the heart. So picture from your heart then a great gold or white pillar of energy that goes up through your throat and your crown and way up beyond the universe. Imagine going beyond the universe. You're going through the clouds, and then you're going through the stars. You may go to the center, the black hole in the center of this galaxy, but this is one galaxy of millions. We can't even see them all. Imagine going beyond that entirely into formlessness. And imagine the field. What does that field of formlessness that the angels come from feel like to you? And allow that to crystallize. Allow that to be filtered through the crystal of the collective consciousness, and receive what that energy is. As you send energy up through that channel, the energy flows back down into your channel. And notice how you feel. When you connect with angels, you will always get the sense of peacefulness, of love, of harmony. And this kind of visualization is kind of an adaptation and adoption from IET, Integrated Energy Therapy, which is a therapy that I am a teacher of and have practiced for some years, that works with the angelic realm to clear the body's cellular memory. So it's a very powerful tool, and the angels are really powerful friends. So there are many different angels. There's 12 or more archangels and hundreds of other angels, sub-angels. And basically, as I said, the collective consciousness filters that angelic energy and it descends into form. So imagine that our human collective consciousness, or even the collective consciousness of this galaxy, or universe even, is like a prism, and the angelic energy is like pure light descending into the prism. And every sub-angel, like Archangel Michael, Angel Uriel, Angel Gabriel, so on and so forth, is like a separate ray of light that filters out through that crystal structure. And each allows us to access a different quality of the angels. Raphael, for example, brings love, healing. Michael brings protection and will. Every angel is a different quality that is divine that you can connect with, though really the source of them is the same. And so it's like a different face for the same entity, which is in a way what we are as well. We are different faces of God in a human form and human expression. The extraterrestrials you can connect with in a similar way. Again, it's all happening in your own consciousness. What happens as you intend and imagine and allow that psychic transference to occur. what do you feel? When you connect with extraterrestrials, it's generally different for each group. The Arcturian energy is, again, this more technical energy that starts to clear structures of negativity and replace them with positive structures in the body, in the energy field. So it can feel like surgeons are coming when the Arcturians come. And they work as well with Syrians. The idea of Syrian surgeons is quite common. The Syrian beings can come and make these connections with you as well. And Sirius is a very vast star system with many different entities and groups of extraterrestrials that live there. The most common are these aquatic salamander-like extraterrestrials that are some of the most highly evolved physicalized beings in this galaxy. So they are kind of the star gatekeepers that allow for maybe energies from other galaxies to enter this one, or from parallel universes to enter this one. And they have played a big role in our evolution as well. Though there's also the non-physical Sirius consciousness. And Sirius, the system, is two stars that rotate around each other, one very big and one rather small. And in the space between those stars, there's this electromagnetic force created that is very powerful for all beings from this galaxy, and especially those from Sirius. So the souls, as they evolve, and as they evolve, they connect with that pure solar consciousness, and they become beings that inhabit the star itself as non-physical energy. And in that sense, because they're non-physical, it's similar to the angel energy, though it is a bit different as it presides specifically to this galaxy, whereas the angelic consciousness itself goes beyond the galaxy and beyond this particular universe. So deep, right? So the Syrian energy can feel very serious. It can feel very water-like, very emotional, very sacred. And the Syrian beings work with a lot of spiritual groups around the world. And just by looking at that star in the sky, it's the brightest star in the sky, more of that psychic energy can as well transfer to you. The Pleiadian energy, on the other hand, is very loving. It's very, in a way, less serious. The Pleiadian beings are, at least the biggest group of them connecting with us, are humanoid. They share the same genetics to a larger degree than the Syrians, though when I say that there's only one strand of genetics, essentially, in the whole solar system, it just adapts and adjusts. So our genetics are similar, most similar to the Pleiadians. And their mission, in a way, is spreading this loving energy, this loving awareness of Source throughout the galaxy. So they come as messengers and ones who want to transfer that loving energy. And as so many souls come with this Pleiadian blueprint, they're one of the strongest groups coming here now. And they can feel a lot like angels, as can the other extraterrestrials, but they are different. As we're talking about extraterrestrials now, well, there's many different groups. There's also the hybrid groups, and yeah, look at some of my videos specifically about extraterrestrials to go deeper into this. Negative groups of extraterrestrials, on the other hand, are simply providing this counterbalance, and as the negative forces do, that within a realm of polarity there has to be the darkness and there has to be the light. The difference between the light is that it connects more, it creates connection, it creates harmony, it connects to spirit and dissolves the sense of individual self. Darkness enhances the ego's sense of this is me and I'm different and I am. It distorts this uniqueness, as every soul is unique and offers something very specific. It distorts this into difference and preserving the self rather than going beyond the self. And their greatest fear is to merge back with Source. They want to keep themselves separate and as they are completely. So some of these beings express themselves as reptilians or draconians and many other forces. I personally don't connect with these beings because I don't want to. Unfortunately, other people don't really feel the choice they have in connecting with these beings or not connecting with these beings, as they just come in with this soul agreement to learn a lot about that negative polarity and its force in the universe. And if that is your experience, or you find these beings bothering you a lot, the greatest solution is to connect to the opposite, connect to the Pleiadians, connect to the Sirians, develop trust in them and alliance with them. As when I see people that are suffering from these negative extraterrestrial interferences, they start to believe that all extraterrestrials must be like that and must be negative, when that's the furthest thing from truth. And we are evolving to merge our solar system with the, well, not merge in a sense that they're becoming one, but to restore that connection and have relationship once more with these extraterrestrial beings that are so lovely. Connecting with the nature spirit realm again, emotion, heart, feeling. What do you feel as you have that intention and as you go out in nature? Every natural place in the world has its own realm, and it's infinite. So there's an infinite amount of these different earth realms. And these nature spirits, again, are eternal beings. And simply by holding that frequency of love and positivity, you will connect with those who are aligned with that polarity. Though again, because this is a higher dimension, it can be a little bit tricky when we start to think of the polarity between them, as a lot of these natural beings are neither good nor bad. They simply reflect to you the energy that you bring. So for example, a figure like Pan. Pan is in a way the king of the nature spirit realm. And the more ancient, less distorted name is Sernanos. So Sernanos is a hooved being with antlers and the body of a man. And Sernanos, like most nature spirits, can shapeshift and will appear different to every person. Sernanos and many nature spirits will reflect to you the energy you put out. And hence we have this myth that over time, through our human evolution, came from being this pure godlike, pure divine masculine energy that the Atlanteans once worshipped and worked with. Then over time, as the Atlantis kingdom became very distorted and then moved to Egypt and Greece and all over the world, we get in Greece Pan, who is very naughty and very tricky, because the humans at that time were not in natural alignment. They weren't in alignment with natural law. So the relationship they had with this nature spirit, Pan, then became very distorted as well. And I've been with spiritual groups that work with Pan, and they were working with also this kind of heavy sexual energy that then made the energy of this land very awkward, very messy. And because I was affected by that and I allowed that to become my reality through extension, I thought Pan was evil for a period of time, until I started to really understand what this nature spirit realm is. It's in that sense really reflective. And the same beings that can express a positive polarity may be the very same beings that express a negative polarity, depending on what energy you bring to nature. And so that's why it's really good to take care of nature by using only the sorts of products and things coming from nature that do not harm nature, not harming nature in your own way, not taking more than you need from nature. Our tendency has become in this world to think that if a little is good, more is better, when often if we take too much of a plant or too much food or even too much water, that's lowering our vibration and that's keeping us heavy and keeping us in a way disconnected from the earth. So connecting with the plants, as those are the kind of vessels for the nature spirits as well. The plants exist in other dimensions, and for the nature spirits, the other dimensional energy of those plants is very special, and they need that energy. So by asking the plant first, may I take your flower? May I take this leaf and make a tea with it? Ask the plant and really feel. If you're clairaudient, you will hear a clear yes or no in your mind's eye. or you will simply get a feeling. Just holding that intention will deepen your connection with the nature spirit realm and help you dive deeper into that. So nature spirits express themselves in so many ways. There's gnomes, elves, sylphs, salamanders, fairies, and they all connect with a different element, and they are all beautiful in their own right. So find out for yourself by going to these different sites which kinds of energies and beings that you're working with. In addition to that, the land will have the energy imprint of the ancestors that have been upon that land as well. So I've traveled a lot in Central and South America, and you can feel perhaps the Incan energy or the Mayan energy. And the people of these lands have left their imprint there, and it's important as well to respect those people, as in this post-colonial world we've taken land from so many people, and sometimes the land can be very, well, the land itself is not angry. The nature spirits are only looking towards your relation to them, whereas these other spirits who have just as much of a say are looking as how you respect the people and the culture of this land, and that's also very important. Speaking about the earth, there's also the inner earth realms. So when Atlantis and Lemuria fell, these beings went underground and built civilizations there. They continued their spiritual development to the point that these cities went from a more physicalized state to a non-physical state. So is it like real cities in the earth? It's not like Los Angeles, that it's a city you can visit and see all the things. It's non-physical. So you can go there with your spiritual body, and some people will have out-of-body experiences where they really go deep into those lands within the earth. And there's a lot of wisdom to gain there as well. And these are also realms that change through the thought and will of those beings at that non-physical level. So they're a little bit different than the nature spirit realms, because again, the nature spirits are never born and they never die. They change shape, they're shapeshifters. Whereas these Lemurian and Atlantean and other inner earth realms, they have more of a, while they exist as well in this higher dimension outside of time, there's still this kind of phantom effect from having evolved from a lower dimensional expression into a higher dimensional expression, and they're continuing their evolution. And some say that eventually these beings will express themselves back on the surface. I don't know. I don't claim that any of the information that comes through my channel or other channels is factual, though there's certain information that I feel and I certainly believe. And with these sorts of predictions, you never know, because we're always shifting our collective vibration and our personal vibration. Though what I do know is that you have the choice inside as to what beings, what realms you connect with, and if this becomes part of your experience or not. So by having the desire, by having the will, the focus, and the belief to do this, this will open up. And one last thing to add to this is, what is the purpose of this connection? I used to have many bizarre experiences in the astral realm, and I found that if I was in a way kind of not living my purpose, these experiences would fall away. And my guides told me that you've done your work alone in our realm enough, and now your job is to go out into your world and help others develop this connection to those realms. As you do this more, your connection as well with these realms is going to strengthen and expand. So yeah, it's a beautiful journey and a beautiful thing to be able to open other people up to the idea and to the experience of connecting with these realms. And if you have had those sorts of experiences and have anything to add, please comment below or send me a message. If you want to work with me in developing your connection more, or finding healing or growth, knowledge from these realms, please send me a private message and we can do a session. My website is blissbeings.com, And please check it out. Please like, please subscribe, please share this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Today is the spring equinox, which is a very powerful day, and it's also a full moon. I'm feeling the energy today super strong, and in my own process as well. So if this is the day that you're watching this video right as it comes out, please connect with that full moon and that equinox and set a strong intention. The energies are becoming lighter and lighter, and now as we make changes in our lives, we really clear those old energy patterns a lot quicker and without many of those vibrations and energies coming back to us. So do your work, clear those patterns, and most importantly, love and do what you love today and every day. Thanks again for watching. Much love and blessings. Blessings.